Hey y'all, see this little ball? This is actually clay. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's good to be here again Saturday morning. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Saturday. I am crafting with Kim, as most of you ladies know, in this Painted Soul Creative Journey group. And I'm also streaming from my personal crafting page and on YouTube. So if you're checking me out on any of those, I'd really appreciate you let me know where you're coming from and give me some comments. Now, today is going to be a fun day for me and the recipient of my handmade item, because this is my gift exchange handmade day. In other words, I am making a gift for someone. It's a secret Santa, and that person is not going to know who it is because I'm not going to reveal it. But you know, if you want to pop on and try to guess who it is, I won't tell you, but you'll get to see the process of what I'm doing and know that this is actually going to be going to a lucky recipient. At least I think they're going to be lucky, because I think it's a fun little project. And I did do a little research on this individual to find out sort of like what they're into, and so that I would know, you know, kind of appropriately what to give as a gift or what to make as a gift. So anyway, like I said, as you're coming on, and either if you're seeing the replay or you have questions, there's a lot going on today with this particular teaching. So I want to get right into it and show you. A lot of you folks know that I like to work with clay. And so this is a clay project. And like I said, as you're coming on, just say hi to me and let me know you're alive and what's up. Let me see, I'm going to pull my phone up here and see if I can see some comments that I might not see on StreamYard. Let's see, am I there yet? Not seeing it quite yet. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start the tutorial, and then I'll pull that up in a minute. Okay, so what we're going to do is, if any of you ladies saw the little promo that I put out, we're actually going to be working. I'm trying to do some fancy stuff here with my StreamYard. I'm going to be making a version of like a little clay hanging house. This is actually it. It's right behind me, and I'll show you that too. Actually, let me switch my screen over like here and see if we can do it this way. Oh, I'm right in the middle on that one. Okay, like I said, I haven't figured this out yet. But anyway, you can see it right there. I'll go ahead and take it away, and I'll show you the actual version of it. It's right here. It's hanging up, so I wanted to make sure that you guys can, you know, I can't like show it on my other screen because it is a hanging version, but it's really cute. And you're like, how did I get this elongated idea going? Well, I'm going to show you that here in a second. I'm going to change this out because I found a really easier, fun way to do something different. But there you go. It's like a little hanging house. All right. So I've got that. And so, like I said, I'm going to be making another version of this a little bit differently. And okay, so here we go. What I'm going to do also is, if you guys can let me know if you hear any Christmas music going on in the background. I put my music up because I wanted to make sure that I had a little festivity going on, not only with my Christmas antlers, but a little bit of music. So if you do hear a little bit of the music, or the volume's not right, let me know on that. I appreciate it. And we'll get going. Looks like we got some comments already. Let's see who's up with us. Morning, Melanie. Hey, darling. How are you? Love your fest. Yeah, I know these are really long, actually. They almost don't fit in the camera. But Deborah's there. Hey, Deborah. How are you ladies doing this morning? How's the weather up north? I'm telling you, I got to brag. It's sunny and 80s here in Florida, and we're getting ready to go out and do some boat regalia tonight. And basically what happens is the boats dress up like floats, and they float on the water in the bays. And so we're going to do that and enjoy some craft fairs and things like that. And it's just a beautiful day. So that's what I've got on my agenda this weekend. Besides this, okay. So like I said, let me go ahead and just hop on down to my other screen here and change it around. Let's see. I might keep this like this. If we need a little bit bigger screen, I can switch it over. Matter of fact, let me do that. Let me play around with this for a second, get my screens right. I think I got all this down here. I'm gonna change my background to here, And then I can switch this over. See, I'm getting a little fancy with this stuff here. I'm trying to get fancy with it. Is that the one? No, that ain't the one. It's this one. There we go. And then I can switch around. I think you guys would rather see what I'm doing really more than see me. There we go. That's what we need. Get a bigger screen there. Okay, so as you ladies know, I like to work with polymer clay, and this is a firm polymer clay. It's called Sculpey, Super Sculpey. And it's beige like this because a lot of times they use doll faces with it. This is my favorite to work with because it's a lot firmer. And I did a lot of this pre-rolling and pre-setting up because of the fact of the time frame and things I got to do. But basically, when you get the polymer clay, it comes in a little block like this, a big block, and then I just cut sections off and I run it through a pasta maker, and I get it to whatever size and I need. And so this is basically the thickness that I'm going to be using today for this little guy. Okay, so I'm just going to set this aside because I don't think I'm going to need it. I'm going to have plenty of leftover for everything else I got going on. Now I got all that done. I can switch back to my comments. Okay, sounds like a wonderful set. It is a beautiful set of this weekend. I think it's going to rain tomorrow, but this whole week has just been fabulous here. Okay, so once again, how did hey Tammy, hey darling, how did I get this to look like a square little house, like elongated house? Believe it or not, I used a piece of like just post board, like wood post board. I kind of came up with this idea on my own, and it turned out to be pretty good. The one thing that people have to realize when working with polymer clay, it's different than ceramic clay. Number one, you can see it's not as messy, but it's also it's like ceramic clay will dry out to a certain point and it'll allow you to kind of keep it shaped in a little bit. Now, polymer clay will do that to a degree, but if you've got these thin pieces like this, it's not going to do that until you bake it. So when you're doing something that is hollow, especially, you need to have something inside, like an armature or something to keep it shaped. And that's something that you have to kind of think about when you're doing something, because number one, you bake it in the oven, and this has to bake with it. So what can you put in the oven that will bake? It's a low temperature of 275. So actually, you can do paper, you can do wood, you can do the aluminum. And so I came up with this idea of wrapping the wood, because one thing that we have to do is this has to actually pull out. And you'll see as I finish it, when we get it done, I have to actually remove this from the inside of the house to be able to have it hollow. So using this and a little bit of just for the sake of releasing it, but you don't even really need that with this one, but you could put a little bit of, what am I trying to say, mineral oil, and cover it lightly with your aluminum, and then start putting your polymer clay on top of that, just to ensure that it's going to release. But generally, once it cools down, it releases fairly easily. To show you another idea here that I did with a release idea, and some of you guys might have seen this is a my little version of a Coil Christmas tree. All right, and I think it turned out quite well. I love this little guy, and I put a little tea light inside of it, so it stands up like this. You can't see it from this angle, but it stands up. And believe it or not, what did I use? I used this. Excuse me. I used this glass. Kim, get it in the camera. I put it literally over this glass, but I put some aluminum foil over there, and then I built it up from there. So that's kind of a couple of ideas that you can use when you're working with this polymer clay. Is you got to have something inside to keep it shaped until it hardens when it dries. We've got a Facebook user, Melanie Lamb. Good morning. So nice to be watching with you this morning. Okay, Facebook user, I'm on StreamYard, and if you'll see the little disclaimer or at the very top, it says if you'll just click on that. Let me see, maybe I can find you on my phone and see what's going on there. But I can't see your name yet, so I'd really appreciate if you would just click on that link that one time. Maybe I can see it now. I've got some comments on my phone. I can see what's going on. We've got Bonnie. Hey, Bonnie. It's good to have you here, darling. And Jessica, let me see, oh, we got quite a few people. Jan's on. Thanks, Jan. Hey, girl. All right, so let me get down to business, because I do have quite a bit going on with this. All right, so like I said, I just took this post, I wrapped it in some aluminum foil, and the first one I made that I showed you was exactly basically the length of this whole thing. I just cut this off. It was a big long pole, like, 4 feet or something like that, and I cut it down to size, and I actually cut the angle on this too to make like a little roof shape. And then, like I said, I just engaging this is I'm not going to make it quite as long as this, because one of the things that's nice to have is to have a little handle to hold on to it. And then when you're removing it from its after it's been baked, you can just grab this and sort of pull it out, and it works really good. So if you're going to do something like this, always leave a little extra to be able to grab hold. All right. So anyway, here's what we're going to do. First thing we're going to do actually is I want to have this concept of this little house is sort of like rustic and whimsical and kind of like a little bit of a worn look. So I'm going to put a little texture and some fun things on the clay piece before I actually put it on my wood. And I'm just going to use some stencils. If you have stamps or rollers with some texture, anything like that, you're more than welcome to use that. I found this is kind of cool. And what I'm doing is I'm using the back side. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to roll it the other way, not roll it, but I'm going to wrap it onto the wood the other direction. But this is going to be my outside area, and you'll see what I mean. So I've got my little brayer roller, and I'm just putting a little bit of something on here. Now, you don't see this too much when it's until after you paint it. So in this particular, let me see, I guess in this particular, what am I trying to say? You won't see, how am I trying to say this? Particular, I can't think of the word. Mode or whatever of the painting, you won't really of the clay before it dries. You don't really see the patterns too much until they're painted. Once you paint them, they kind of come up. And this is kind of a fun. I just got a bunch of little crazy stencils here. I'm just rolling a lot of little variations on here, and just to have some really cool stuff, and it makes it look a lot more fun when you're doing it. And so yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. How's everybody doing this morning? You ladies having a good day? Everybody got plans this weekend, doing some last minute Christmas shopping? Or I guess not last minute, we still got a couple of weeks. It just seems like Christmas like creeping up. It's like creeping up on me, man. But I'm pretty much good to go. I've got most of my stuff done as far as gift giving and that type of thing. And I did make a few things, as in, like I said, this is a handmade gift for one of you ladies. All right. So bear in mind that somebody's going to be getting this. I'll be sending it out next week. All right, so you see what I did? I basically you probably can't see that very well, and I don't want it to be really strong. Now you really can't see it. But like I said, when we paint it, you'll be able to see the texture. All right, so I'm turning it over, and I've got the nice clean side now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this around. And this actually works really cool. I thought it was pretty clever the way it came out. Got all my little ditties up here. Got to get out of the way. This is a long piece. You guys can see that. So I'm starting, let me turn it around so you can see a little bit better. I'm starting from the edge here, like one of the edges. Now, if you want, you can kind of clean it up, but I'm giving myself a little bit of extra overlay on this because I need to be able to wrap it around and actually kind of seal it to the other piece. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of lining it up with that point right here. I'm not doing that right now. If a person had a longer piece, they could do the whole thing like this and just cover that whole section. But I found it's just as easy to do this because we're going to put the roof on it and whatnot too. So I'm just kind of lining it up about there. Oh, I don't need that much. There, right there. And then I'm just going to fold it over. Okay, kind of flatten it out. And you're making it into like a little square. All right, I'm going to turn it right here. Bring it over. This is like if everybody worked with fondant. You want it, Mary? Okay, well, I'm not going to say. But if anybody who's ever worked with fondant, this is kind of, I've actually never worked with fondant, but I've seen, videos and stuff. And this reminds me of what this would be like. It's actually pretty fun to work with. I absolutely love working with clay because to me, I think it's so versatile. All right, so I'm just cutting it off right there. All right. Oh, wait, did I cut it off too short? I don't think I did. I did it. Yeah, I did it. It's got to cut a little bit deeper. I'm using the back of my butter knife because I've got my silicone mat here, and I do not want to mar it up too bad. So, but I do have an X-Acto knife that's a little bit cleaner if you, if a person wants to do that, if you're working on the glass or a harder surface. All right, so see there, I just basically made a seam. I folded it over and I made a seam. So at this point, I'm just going to work that in with my fingers and try to get that seam to go away. Now, the one thing about this particular piece that I'm working on, it is whimsical and it is kind of a distressed look. So I'm not looking for perfection here. I kind of like the imperfections that you would see with like an old house or something. So, you know, if a person wanted to do something really more like intricate and very defined, of course, you can get your nice clean lines and get it really nice and defined and all that. But that's not what I'm going for with this one. This is a fun piece. And actually, you know what? I might put a little extra texture on that now that I've got this, because that's another way you can do it too. You can do it either before and you can do it after, but I think I'm going to add a little extra texture. All right, so anyway, I've got this part so far. And then at that point, I've got some boogers on this thing. You have to figure out like what side you want your front to be, your front and your back. Of course, these are the sides of the house. And then which is going to be your front and back. It really probably doesn't matter, just depends on you. Even this little rough edge on the bottom, I'm leaving that. A person could clean that up and just cut that nice and clean. But I kind of like the rough edge myself, so I'm keeping it on there. I think I'm going to go with this side on the front. And of course, your front's going to be what people see the most. But I'm going to roll this a little bit more just to make it pop a little bit. There we go. Now you might be able to see that one in the camera. I don't know. There you go. Maybe, maybe, maybe. All right. So that's pretty much it, I think. No. Okay, I'm going a little further. I'm going to do the sides. You can see I'm just arbitrarily just putting something on there because it's just going to look kind of cool no matter what you put on. And then let me see me do one on the back. Hey, Miss Steffi. Hey, darling. How's Bella feeling? She doing better? Hope so. All right, so there we go. I just got a lot of different cool designs going on there. And believe me, once we get it painted, it's going to look really great. Okay, so how do we do the roof and this little gable part here? Well, like I said, if you have a longer piece, you could just extend it all the way up and just cut it from there. But another little simple way to do it is just use this as a guide and just cut. Excuse me if my head's not going to get in the way because I've got two cameras going here. All right, so I'm just cutting a little triangle piece. It doesn't have to be perfect because the one thing about clay too is very forgiving. So you can actually work it and straighten it out a little bit more. All right, so you can see I've got one side there and I'm just gonna kind of use my fingers and kind of add that on there like that. Extend it out. The one thing you need to bear in mind, like I said, if you decide to do anything like this, is anything that you're doing where you have to put something inside and you have to release it, is make sure that, like at the very top here, that you don't have the edge kind of folded over into it like that. Because if you do that and you're trying to pull it out, it might be a little bit difficult. It might get stuck. Actually, in this way, we're pulling it down out this way. And see this one, you can see it's actually the wood is even starting to slide out right now. So this is very cool. Once I can just slide the wood out and then I just pull the aluminum right out after it. So I thought it was a pretty clever little idea way I come up with making a little armature for this guy. All right, so now I'm going to do the other side and same thing. Just going to put this right here and make a little triangle pattern for it. See how fun and easy this is to work with? Who else out there? I know a lot of ladies, you know, we do, a lot of you do sewing and paper crafting and crafts of all sorts of things. So I'm assuming that a lot of you ladies like assemblage, which is basically what clay is. Clay's assemblage. And I don't know, I just find it just, like I said, it's so, to me, I find it relaxing because it is very, I don't know, I think it's user friendly, especially this particular clay. It's a blast to work with, and it's just very versatile. So, and I know you ladies know that I have a membership group. If anybody wants to learn more about clay and doing some really cool fun projects, then you can join me in there and I'll teach you and we'll have fun doing some good stuff together. All right, so there we go. I've got basically that's it. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but I've got both my sides. All right. Now, the roof is actually pretty simple too, and I could do one or two things. I could go ahead and put my roof on later and work on the windows and whatnot, or I could put my roof on now. The way I did it the other day is I actually put my roof on, and then what I found too to work with it, because once you put your roof on, it's going to hang over. Is I put it in this glass, and I could do that and just kind of work from it from the glass. But I think what I'm going to do right now is I'll just go ahead and leave my roof off for a second, and that way I can lay this flat and I can kind of work with my doors and window idea. Now, when it comes to that, on my first one, the big long guy, I did kind of go ahead and draw something out on paper, kind of like how I wanted it to look, some of the ideas that I wanted to put on there. And if a person just wants to wing it, but I think it's good to get a little bit of a pre-idea of how you want to place things and what you want to do in it. And I changed it around a little bit, and then your coloring and whatnot if you want to pre-do that. This one, I just kind of sort of have it in my head. Um, and the one the presenter's magic, it'll be totally different. So, but what I did do is I took a little bit of cardboard here and kind of did like my windows, like a window shape and a door shape. So I'd have them fairly consistent in size. And let's see, if wherever you want to place those, I mean, you can place them this way if you want. You can place your windows that way. You can put one or two windows, but this is going to be my front. And this are kind of big windows for this little piece, but hey, I don't mind that. And then you've got your door here. Now this door is kind of a big door. I probably wouldn't make it this big because this piece is so small. I'll probably cut that door down a little bit. But so what I did to get that on there, because I'm just kind of like doing a line, I'm just kind of giving the gauge of where they're going to be. I'm not actually cutting it out. Although my big one you saw, I did do a cutout of the window. But in these, I'm not going to do an actual like cut through. I'm just going to kind of do like a little score line just to see where I'm going to place everything. And I'm using a stylus, or you can use, an X-Acto, something with a little bit of an edge there. But basically, like I said, I'm just sort of giving a score mark to show where I need to put my items, okay? Because we're going to do something a little bit different with them. We're not just going to leave it like that. All right, so then I'm just going to stick maybe one window. Maybe I'll do like one center window right here. All right, and I'm just going to score that out. I know where I'm going to place that. You don't want to do it too deep because this clay is not super thick, but it's definitely thick enough to hold up once it's baked. There's one window, okay? And then you can go put your windows on your sides if you want, one or two, ever how you want to place your windows. For the sake of time, I'm not going to do the whole thing. We're just going to work on the front because you ladies will get the idea of what I'm doing, okay? Because I am going to work with the presenter's magic one, and we're going to paint that puppy up. All right, so there's another window on the side. So you get the idea. Basically, you're just putting your windows and your doors in place as a guide where you want them. Now, there's lots of different ways that you can do this and lots of really fun things. You could actually add extra little elements. Matter of fact, I'll show you this. These are kind of large, but you can make smaller versions of this. On the other one, as a matter of fact, I'll show you again. I'll get over here to this. And you can see, where is it at? Okay. On this one here, if you look, oh, actually, this is the front. On the back of this one, see, I did a little cutout here, and I added a little bird, a little paint job up here, and then I did like a little heart. That's actually three-dimensional, and I did the windows. On the back of this is like a little medallion. And I'll show you like basically this is a larger version because I'm going to use this as part of the hanging part on the bottom, but I made a very smaller version of this and stuck it on the back. And so you could do that. You could add extra dimensional pieces onto this piece here to bring it out, which is what I did. Now, here's how I did the windows as far as I want to put a little board. I want to make them dimensional and make them pop a little bit. So I use my little extruder here, or extractor. Oh, yeah, I was calling it an extruder. But basically, I've got it set on my little guys here that makes like the little pasta strands. And, this thing just rolls out. I think I got a little bit of clay left in here I wanted to show you. Oh, and I wanted to show you another idea or give you another idea. See how that just kind of rolls out? When I did the angel, remember I did the angel? I used this for the angel hair. And so it's versatile enough to use here. Now, this is actually the color of the clay. Here's another little fun tip that you can do. I'm not going to do it right now because it's kind of messy and it's like, easy to explain. But if a person wanted to color the clay beforehand, in other words, you can see this is actually, I put some cream in the paint, in the clay before I did it. And all I did, I got one of my hairs in there, is I took a little daub of clay, never how much you need, of course, and just put a little squirt of the acrylic paint in there, mess it around. If you want to wear gloves, because it'll get your hands all dirty, mess it around, and then just mix it in. You're mixing the color in with your clay, and it's still workable. It's a little bit drier, but it still works. Like you see, this is very pliable. I have not baked this yet, and it is colored. That's a great way to get your colors pre-colored instead of having to paint them afterwards. And I did that on this because I had so many small pieces. I did it on a couple of things on that bigger one, on the medallion, on the little bird, and things like that. And I pre-colored them and then just cut them out from there and made them into what they did. That way, you bake the color right in. You don't have to pre-paint it. There's a lot less painting that goes on in the end process. And if a person wanted to, you could actually go ahead and typically glue those on your piece and have it done. But since this is getting painted all over and, all the little dimensional pieces, I left them all off and we're going to glue them on at the end. And you're going to see that in a minute. So basically, okay, like I said, I'm going to put my roof on to show you how I did the roof. And then we're probably going to switch over to the other one that I've already have finished. All right. So for this, I've got these little strands here. You can make them flat if you wanted to. This little extractor has a little flat blade, or you could just press them with your finger or roll them out or whatever. But I just kind of left mine in the little round shape. So in this case, all I'm doing like this is, where's my little guy here? I'm just doing, and I'm not doing it like I said, nothing's precise here. I'm making this really fun and whimsical. Like I don't care if it's not perfect. I kind of like the wonky look. Again, that's my word of the day, wonky. Anybody ever heard of that word before? Wonky. All right, so yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just kind of putting them together. I just go kind, and that's why I have the windows like that, so you can kind of see where your placement was. You don't have to do that, you don't have to pre-draw them, but I just think it's kind of a little bit of plan's good to have sometimes when you're doing something creative. All right, so you get the idea on that. Basically, I just took those little strands and kind of cut them out on there. Now, like I said, I'm not going to leave them on here because I want to paint this whole thing in the end. Technically, a person could actually paint this and then bake it, which might be a good idea. I didn't do that on this one because I wanted to be able to show how to paint it. But you could literally do that if you wanted to. That would save a little time. You could pre-paint all of this the way you want it painted, and then you could go back and add your other pieces on here and then bake the whole thing. Definitely do that. And that way, once again, you wouldn't have to paint at the end and it would pretty much be done unless any little touch up or areas. All right, so let me go ahead and show you how I put that roof on. Aluminum's kind of opened up there, but that's no big deal. So basically all I did with this is just take kind of like a triangle strip, sort of gauged it like how wide I need it. You guys can see, make sure you can see. Like I said, if you want to, well, I guess for the sake of everybody, I like the uneven edge on the lines, but if I can, come on, you know how to do this right. I need a ruler, but if you wanted a real straight line, you could definitely just cut that off and make it kind of straight. I sort of, like I said, I like the wonky look on this guy because that's kind of what I'm going for. I like the rustic, distressed look. But I would have left that on if it had been me. But since I'm showing you ladies how to do something a little different, I figured I'd go ahead and cut that edge off. So yeah, let me know if you guys like assemblage. Like, what's your favorite? Let me ask you this: what's your favorite assemblage projects? Like, what does everybody like to do? Steph, I know you're like a little bit of everything. I'm the same way, and I probably a lot of these ladies are. But I know, like Deb, I know she likes to sew. Some of you are more into crafting or painting. So I'm just curious, like mixed media. What's your favorite assemblage craft or art? All right, so like I said, what I'm going to do with this is basically I'm just getting my width on it. Okay, I'm just kind of gauging right here. It's about that wide. All right, I'm going to make it a little bit wider because I want it to hang over. So I'm going to do it about right here. And I can always cut this off if I need to. And I'm just going to kind of cut a piece or score a piece like that. I think that's going to be long enough. I'm just eyeballing it, honestly. A person, if they really wanted to have a paper pattern, you could do all that, but this is such a simple project, you don't have to go through all that. Okay, I'm going to do it about right there. And I'm just cutting like a, this piece is actually a little rougher than this one, so maybe I'll clean that up simply because to make them look consistent. All right, and then I'm just going to cut that off. Cut that out. And you know, if you want to make it, well, like I said, when you see it, when I get on here, I'm going to manipulate it a little bit more. Dang it, Kim, I didn't cut it through enough because I'm trying not to cut my darn mat. I don't want to, I found score marks on my other mat and I'm trying to keep this one nice and clean. All right, so I think that's going to work as far as my roof. Let's see if that's, oh yeah, that's plenty. That's going to be cute. See, put the roof on. All right, before I put the roof on though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it some texture. Lots of ways you can do that. Actually forks and pasta and all sorts of things, but I created like a little shingle roof effect just using this knife right here, my butter knife, and just, let's see if you guys can see that. Okay, yeah, so I'm just kind of doing this little press. Get this out of the way. Little press idea like that. Okay, I'm just kind of pressing into it. But you can use a variety of different things to get your texture on your roof. And like I said, you know, clay is about texture too. I mean, a lot of us, I'm a big texture person. A little bit of everything. Okay, Bonnie says a little bit of everything. Like I said, Bonnie, if you can see in the initial post above where it says, please allow StreamYard to access you, I would be grateful if you would do that. Like I'm looking at my phone and I'm seeing you there too. But if you do it that way, then I'll be able to see you actually on my StreamYard. And because right now it just says Facebook user. Either way, it's good, but it just makes it a little easier if you do it that way. I don't have to look at two different sources. All right, so yeah, I can see I'm just kind of filling that in. Almost, you could do this as like fish scales too. These work great for fish scales. See how I got that texture like that just using that flat butter knife? Okay. All right, so now this is where I'm going to have to use my glass, and I'll bring my camera up so it looks a little bit, I got all kind of boogers on here. All right, so I'm going to put this in the glass because I need to have something to hold on to when I'm doing this. Let me lift this camera up a little bit so you can see a little bit better probably. Sorry that the angle that's at, but I have to do it this way. But actually, you'll be able to see the top of the house anyway. You'll be able to see putting the roof up. I'm raising the roof, girlfriends. Anybody ever been to a roof raising before? Putting up a barn or anything like that? Tammy, I could see you doing something like that. I don't know if I've ever actually been to a roof raising. I was raised on a farm when I was a kid in Alabama, but everything was already built as far as I remember. I've raised the roof on a couple things I've built out in North Carolina, mud houses and all kinds of crazy stuff. All right, so yeah, it's as simple as that. Now, here's the deal. I think when I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna do it on this one, honestly, because this one is just this is like my sample and they're so cute. I might go ahead and bake this and finish it off, but right now I'm not sure. But what I would do before you actually attach this, it would probably work without doing this because it's pretty sticky, but I would run a little bit of a bead of the Sculpey glue across the edge of this. Okay, and that way you can make sure that it's nice and secure, that it will stay on there. Okay, but basically you can see it's pretty sticky. You got your house. Now, if you want to just, you know, kind of play around with it and change it, and I kind of like to have, you know, pinch it, kind of turn it around a little bit and kind of make it a little bit, like I said, my wonky version. Put the wonky on it for you, and there you go. And you've got like a little cute little house. All right, and see, so you get your house, and then you get all your little other pieces on there, and your medallions, and then can you see my? Can I see? No, I still can't see you. I can see you on my phone, Bonnie, but I cannot see you on. It's just a little. It's like at the beginning of the post when I come on live, and it says, please allow user to use Facebook to use StreamYard. And there should be like a little blue link in the StreamYard thing. If you click on that link, then it takes you to StreamYard, and it's just like a simple blah, 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 and then you're done. And that way you won't ever have to do that again with anybody else that's using StreamYard either. They'll all be able to see you. Anyway, so yeah, you can kind of see that's pretty much how you assemble the house. Okay. Now, and like I said, once it's baked, here's, and see, I might be able to do this actually without even, it was sliding out. So you would put this in your oven, and I actually baked it in the glass like this. I took my oven racks down and I set it up on a sheet or a pan or whatever, and I baked it in the oven just like this so it would not touch anything. There you go. See it a little bit, just like that. Okay. And it baked like that. Okay. Then after it cools down, then, like I said, in this case, it's sliding right out already. You could just take this guy right out. Okay. A little piece of wood, and you could just pull, it won't pull out now because this is still sticky. But once it's cooled down and it's hardened, this little piece just slides right out like butter. It's great. You might have to like pick it a little bit, but it really comes out pretty easy. All right. So that's how you assemble the house. All right. Now, what we're going to do is, ta-da, it's time for presenting. I gave permission. Yay. Good deal, Bonnie. All right. Well, it should come up soon then. Hopefully it'll come up. If not, then it will come up in whenever future broadcasts with StreamYard. So I'm going to set this little guy aside here and all my little ditties. And I've showed you a few things how to work with all this clay. And now we're going to put the other one together. I think I don't need that. All right. Oh, a couple of little things I wanted to show you too as far as making the medallions. Of course, you can just, when I made the medallions like this, I just took that same stencil that I showed you. I just rolled over it like that. And well, this one was actually some little Play-Doh thing that I had that had the little flower shape, but you know, I have these little circular ones too. And you just cut them out, you know, like you do cookie cutters. And then you got a cute little medallion. I put a hole up in these because they're going to be strong and then hanging down at the bottom of the ones that I've already made. Okay, so time to switch your Rui here and go to the presenter's magic. I've got all kinds of goodies going on here. I think I'll take it off this guy here because I know it glares a little bit on that cookie sheet. All right, so this is the actual one that I made that's going to be going as a gift to someone. Okay, and yeah, I put a cross on it. I thought that was kind of a nice idea. It's not necessarily a church, but to me it just is a representation of Christ, so I put a little cross on this one. All right, so yeah, now it's time to paint this guy up, and you'll see what I did here too is I've got tweezers. They're going to come in handy for this project because all these little guys I got here. On my door, what I did is I took all these pieces and I pre-shaped them. This door got a little bit out of shape because I didn't bother to put it back in shape. Let me get down a little bit closer now. I think I can get down close, you guys. All right, so you can see. So this is maybe a little bit of a tedious part for some people, but honestly, if you love what you do, it's not tedious at all, right? It's just something that you enjoy. Let's see. I gave them permission. Okay, Bonnie, great. Good, good, good. All right. So anyway, yeah. So what I'm going to do at this point is I need to paint this first, okay? And what I'm going to do paint colors wise, I was kind of thinking about that, like what colors I'm going to do. I did orange and yellow on my other one, but I think this one I'm going to pick salmon. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a coat of paint. And then we'll assemble. Now, another thing too is the first coat of paint, it's just going to be my basic coat, and then I can kind of jazz it up a little bit from there. What I like to do with this one is I want a little bit of a distressed look. Oh, you know, I need something to paint on. I don't want to get my mat all dirty. Hold on, guys. My little handy dandy. I got paint on my pizza bottoms here. Obviously, you can see we eat frozen pizza. All right, so you know what? I fix frozen pizza on the nights when I have to represent because it's something quick and I can throw in the oven. I can throw in the oven, and it's there waiting for Robert when I'm out here doing my thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I want to give it like a real kind of a distressed look. Some people call it grunge, whatever the heck you want to call it, but I'm just going to kind of give it a beat up look. And you can use medium if you want to. Get that dirty water out of the picture. You don't want to see that. You can use medium if you want to, but I just found I'm just going to use some brown umber, like a little bit watered down of the brown umber, and then or burnt umber rather, brown umber, whatever. And I'm getting inside the crevices too. All right. Now you can see, before I wipe this off, you can start seeing how those images start popping out a little bit, right? You can see some of that. You'll see it even better once I start cleaning it up. I'm going over the entire thing like this, just because that gives it more of an aged feel, getting underneath everywhere. And it is a little bit watered down. I mean, you can make it a little bit heavier if you want, but the first coat, I try to get it kind of watered. And I'm really like scrubbing it almost because I want to get it in all the little nooks and crannies and crevices. Okay. And let's see, I'll do it to about there. I don't like to do the whole thing because I'm always afraid it's going to dry up on me too much. So I'll do like a little portion of it. And then I kind of go back and wipe it off. And that's what I'm going to do right now. And you can sort of leave some of the edges in place too. Pat it or whatever you want to do, ever how much you want to stay on there. But once you start doing that, it starts bringing out some of that definition. And it's subtle. You know, it's not like huge, but it gives it like a little bit more of a texture. It gives it more interest, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then, like I said, you can go back afterwards, even after you paint it, and do a little extra dry brush with that on there if you want it to be a little bit more aged. All right, now I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. I might end up having to bring back my my glass and my, what you call it, wood. See if this thing will step back in there. Hold it up. All right. So, like I said, I don't know. Nobody really told me what you got going on this weekend, girls. What's on your agenda? Everybody still Christmas shopping? You going out? Is anybody going out and seen any like parades or anything yet? Done any like Christmas gift? Well, you know, around here they have a lot of. I guess some of the colder areas it's too much to be outside, but craft shows and things like that. They got a lot of that. Like every little city in this area has got craft shows and things like that going on the next couple of days. I want to definitely get inside those window areas there. All right. But yeah, like I said, we're going to do a boat regalia tonight. Go see the boats float with all their, it's like a parade with boats, basically. They go in the bay, different areas around here. St. Augustine, and then St. Augustine one's a really cool one. But I tell you what, that place has gotten so darn busy lately. You can't even get up there. The traffic's so bad. All right. So yeah, so you can see I just kind of gave it a little bit of an aged look. And then we're going to go ahead and paint on top of that too. All right. I think it might be dry enough to go straight on it. If not, I might have to put a little bit of blow dryer on there. But I pretty much wiped most of it off. Actually, the back didn't have hardly anything on it. Cleaning up my Steffi, you're always cleaning up your mess. I got messes too, darling, but I try to clean up pretty much every time I come to my craft space. You know, like usually after I do a presentation, I just kind of walk away from it a lot of times and I leave it messy. But then I go back and the next day or the next time I come out, I make sure that I have enough time to get everything clean and organized. And, you know, because believe it or not, you would not know by looking at my studio, but I actually hate clutter. I have organized clutter. Does anybody else have organized clutter? My clutter is it's pretty organized. I mean, for me, at least I can find stuff. I think we were talking about that the other day, how you know, you don't want anybody else to go clean up your stuff because you won't be able to find it. Okay, one of the things I forgot to mention, she went to a parade in our small town, Tammy says. It was 2 hours. Oh my gosh, 2 hours. That is a long parade. Oh, you know what? DeLand here in Florida, they have a really cool Mardi Gras one in February. They dress up their dogs and they do a dog parade or animals, whatever. And they parade them in their costumes. And I can't wait. I'm going to bring my grandkids down for that. I saw it last year. It was kind of fun. Anyway, one of the things I forgot to mention, my bad, is on this one here. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. I didn't have my little tool with me, but I can use a straw. I think find my straw. I have a lot of these little small hole cutter tools. Now, if you're making this into a hanging version, technically, this little guy, you could create a base for it and just have it sit on a table. It doesn't have to be a hanging version, but these are hanging versions because I like things that hang. So I'm doing a hanging version. But you need to have a hole in the top. Obviously, it's hollow inside. See? And a person could paint the inside too if you want to. I don't see the point in doing that, but if you want to, if you have a cutout, like if you do a full cutout, it might behoove you to paint the inside because it'll look more consistent. But in this one, nobody's really going to see the inside of it, so I didn't paint it. But yeah, you could put a little base and just have it as a standing one instead of a hanging. But if you want to make it into a hanging, you can either use a straw. You don't have to use anything particular fancy. You could actually just take this right in the center and just do this number. Let's see if I can do it without having to hold it. This was a little, like I said, it's a little bit loose because I didn't put it down because it's my sample. But usually if you do that kind of number and you twist it around a little bit, it comes out and you got a nice perfect hole, okay? You can clean that straw out if you want, and then there you go. And then you can actually put it back in place if it comes off. But there you go, you got your hole. All right, so that's how you do that. I'm going to bring this back over. Let me see if this fits in here because I might need to use this. It might have shrunk up too much for me to use it. Hey, believe it or not, it actually works. I can get it in there. Look, see, it slid right back in there, just nice like that. Okay. All right, and I can kind of work off of it. The reason I wanted to do it this way, matter of fact, I'm not going to do it that way because you ladies can't see. Let me try to find something. I got a dowel or something. I'll try it this way. It's because I got the roof. I could, never mind. It's, what am I thinking about, Kim? It's dry. It's hard. It's not going to go anywhere. I was thinking that the roof might flatten out, but that's only if it's not been baked. Since it's been baked, it's cool. So it's not going to go anywhere. All right. So basically I need to lay this flat because I need to assemble it right now. Okay. Organized clutter. I like that term for the craft room. Yes, that's what you need to tell your mate, your hubby. It says, I have organized clutter. Matter of fact, there's probably a quote out there somewhere that I've seen with that. All right. So now how am I going to continue to paint this? Actually, on this one, did I just expand that a little bit? I think I expanded this a little bit. No, it's still good. It's all right. But here's the thing. If you're working with your polymer clay and it does seem to get a little bit of a crack in it or something, that's not a huge deal either. You could actually just put some of your Sculpey on it and your Sculpey clay and rebake it because you can rebake this. Hot glue, anything like that, and just put it back together and rebake it, and it actually works fine. Or even like mend it with a little extra clay as well. But this one actually is okay. I thought it had cracked, but it didn't. It's fine. Okay, so now here's the way I did it, and I'm thinking that the way I told you earlier, if you were to paint your raw clay and then bake it all, you'd be a little bit faster about this process. But since I didn't do that with this one, we're going to go ahead and paint it up right now. Also, I like to put a little line here just as an extra interest for your gable piece on the front and back, and just to kind of break up the color. And the other one, you can do two tones. You can really go crazy with these things and make them really fun and creative. I'm going to use, where's my salmon paint? Right here, Kim. All right, I'm going to use a little bit of this coral. It's not salmon, but it's like a coral color. I just love this color. I mean, of course, maybe because I live in Florida, I like anything ocean and beachy, but I like this coral color. I'm going to put that as my pretty much house color. And then, where did my brush? Here it is. I usually have my paint water on the other side, and I can't find it now. Who we got here? We got a hello. Joni. Hi, Joni. How are you? It's good to have you here. How's your Saturday morning going? I'm making a little hanging gift. This is my gift exchange item, and I'm making this for someone in the group, and they don't know who it is. But once again, I'm kind of painting all over this thing. I'm not worrying about the doors and the windows yet because, I mean, if you want to avoid those, you can. I'm going to be painting those different colors. Like I said, when it comes to painting these things, it kind of goes the gamut. You pick do your own creative license and do it any way you want to. But, I'm making a little bit of a mess right here because I'm just trying to get the paint on. And I love the way that texture came out, just putting those different textures. I love the little floral medallion ideas. They look really cool on the house. In the back of it too, there's like a little one on the back of this one. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So like I said, I'm just getting my coral color on. You can paint it as much. I even thought about doing one in the metallics or the shift colors. I know Steph and I were talking about the shift colors the other night. I thought that might be kind of interesting to do one in those colors. All right. So yeah, at this point, I mean, you can wipe that off or not. I'm going to go over those colors, those house colors. All right, so there's this color. I'm going to have to mute for a second because I do have to use my heat gun to be able to work on the other. Well, you know, maybe not. It might dry fast enough. Let me see. I'll go ahead and do my gable color. And if that's not dry, then I'll go ahead and mute it up. I think what I'm going to do, I might use this teal. You guys like the teal with that? I think I like the teal. I'm just going to use it out of the lid. To me, I find using it out of the lid. Does anybody else paint out of the lid? I love painting out of the lid because that way you don't waste paint. I don't know. I'm just such a paint Nazi. I'm like, I'm really crazy about my paints. I don't like to waste things. I'm not a wasteful person. All right, so I kind of like those two colors together. What do you guys think? You like that? All right. I think my gift receiver will like these colors as well. I sort of pre-picked them out. All right, so let's see. I think that's all I got to paint, really. Got to do the roof. All right, so that's those two colors there. When it comes to colors, like I said, I sort of kind of like pick the colors, but I like to, teal is good with coral. Yes, it is. It looks very pretty together. I sort of like, I don't know, I just sort of wing it a lot of times on the colors. I think, you know what, let me look at this color, let me look at that color, and I just kind of pick colors out and go for them. All right, so for the roof, how do you go? What do you ladies think? You think tan, or should I go with more like a darker color? We're gonna have these little creams going around here. All right, I'm going to put the cream borders around the windows. I might not finish all this today, ladies, because, you know, it is a little bit more time consuming to do it, but I'll do like the first couple and show you how it looks all together. But I've got these little guys that I stick on there with my, please say, oh, it's right here. Yay, lose my tweezers. All right. These, by the way, you know, these are the ones that I used before. These have actually been baked, so they're harder. They're harder. They don't move around. Pretty stiff. So those are ones got to be assembled on there. All right. So, and then another thing I did, I'll do one window and the door in the front, and then that's pretty much it. And then I'll post a picture of the painted project simply because I won't take up that much of your time to show you how to do the whole thing, because I think you ladies are smart enough to be able to figure it out. Okay. So anyway, the roof color, though, I don't know. Anybody want to give me some suggestions? I was thinking about doing it in a maybe, and you know what? I kind of like the tan. I like the cream color idea. The cream color, or how about this? How about, I love mustard. Anybody into this? This is the mustard color with that. I think that'll look kind of cool. Yeah, let's go with mustard. We're going with mustard. It was Colonel Mustard that did it. You guys ever do Clue or see that movie? Was it Colonel Mustard? I don't know. Did anybody ever figure out who it really was? Okay. Oh, I do have these actually that are going on there. You know what? These are going to be like my little shadow boxes. They're going to be going on all the windows. Okay. Shadow boxes. My little flower boxes, rather, not shadow boxes. All right, and then, do I still want to do that? You know what? I think I'm going to switch. Now that I know that I'm doing that, these are like a citrus green. All right, so I'm going to actually switch my idea. I am going to do the cream. I'm going to go ahead and do the roof the same color as the window trim, just to kind of keep it a little bit more. Like I said, I don't really care what colors go on as long as they kind of go together. They all coordinate and look nice. So yeah, I'm just going to paint that puppy up. And you can see I'm doing a very dry, rough paint on this. This is not a heavy paint at all. And I might even go over this a little bit with the brown again to kind of bring it down. Somebody's running a chainsaw outside the door. Can you guys hear the chainsaw going on? My neighbors going crazy. I don't think that's Robert. It must be the neighbors. All right. And I don't know exactly what color I'm going to paint my cross yet. You guys think on the cross, what color should I paint that? Okay. So Steffi's organizing. What are the rest of you ladies doing up there in that cold country? Is it an indoor day for you? Or are you going to get out and enjoy some of the crisp weather? Is it, anybody get snow yet? Oof, The thought of that makes me want to cringe. I'm sorry, ladies, I don't like snow. I'm just not a snow person. I've lived in that several times in my life, and it's just not for me. Number one, I have arthritis. I get oof, makes me so crickety being around that cold weather. All right, I'm just painting the inside of the roof here. It's probably another way to do this, but that's the way I'm doing it. And it's mixing with the teal a little bit, but we're okay. All right, so pretty much got the roof color. And like I said, I will add a little bit of extra brown on that once it dries, and I'll take it down. And I don't even mind if you were to put a separate color. Oh, Melanie, you're in Minnesota, right, Melanie? Is that Minnesota? I'm going to say. Or Minneapolis. I can't remember. I can't remember. I remember you're up in really cold country because I remember I used to live in Montana. I graduated from high school in Montana, and I've seen 75 below weather, and I'm like, no. My last stint was in Connecticut, pushing a shopping cart through the snow. Okay, yeah, it's pretty to look at. Yeah, you are Minnesota. Yeah, it's dang cold up there. Yeah, Montana, Minnesota, they're neighbors. But yeah, it's a stinking cold. Forget it. Like I said, my last stint with snow, well, no, North Carolina, but that was fairly mild season. But I was living in an off-the-grid house made out of pallets and straw, and we had a wood stove, so it was interesting to say the least. But my last issue, I said I'd never be in snow again, was in Connecticut, pushing a shopping cart through the snow in a snow blizzard with my 6-year-old daughter at the time, and I was like, nah, I ain't doing this no more. I moved to the desert in Las Vegas after that. And I've pretty except for my little stint in North Carolina for 4 years, I've been in the snow belt. Okay, and I love it. I mean, in the sun belt, not snow belt. Okay, now I think what I'm going to do for sake of, I'm going to put some darker color on these windows. I don't really want them, I want them to kind of, although you can put a brighter color if you want, but I'm just going to put a little bit of this dark color. After I do the windows and the door, I'm pretty much just going to assemble the front part of it and then show you how I do that. And then we'll pretty much probably call it good. I'll finish it up on my own. Like I said, there's no need to have you watch me sit there and put all these little pieces together, but I did want to show you a little bit of an idea of how I did it. Like I said, if a person wanted to pre-paint all this with it raw before you put it in there and then assemble it, you can do that. I'll just make sure that you use that Sculpey glue, which is what I'm going to do anyway. All right, so I've got one. I just painted that dark because I want it to look like a dark window. The door color, I don't know. I think I need to paint some really funky poppy color on that door. What do you guys think? The door is going to have a little bit of like a little guy right here. It's like its little step up. So I don't know. Maybe I should paint the door. I'm just going to pop a color in here. We're just going to go with sage green. How's that? Sage green. I've already got the other color. I'm just throwing these colors out. You can see that. The door, another way to do a really fun texture is I took on my other one, is I took the fork and I just kind of pressed on the fork and kind of pressed and dragged, and it created like a cool, almost like an old castle door sort of look. All right. So that's the door and there's a window. And of course, I'm going to go around to the whole thing and finish it up and with the colors and whatnot. But I am going to mute myself for a second and dry these guys up, and then I'll show you how I assemble the window and the door frames and all that, and then we'll pretty much wrap it up. And then I can finish painting everything later for the gift that's going to go to someone. Okay, hold on a second. Let me mute. Where's my thing? Let me mute myself here. Mute. Okay, Jan. Thanks, Jana. That's cute. Yeah, go have some fun, man. Go enjoy your day. That's what I'm doing. As soon as I finish up here, we're just gonna go out and really enjoy the day. And I guess you said party girl lately too, Tammy. Uh-oh, party girls in the house. All right. So real quick, like I said, I don't want to take everybody's time because it's a beautiful Saturday, and I want everybody to have a good weekend. Not that I don't think that what I'm doing is not fun. I really enjoy it. But okay, so we're going to use some Sculpey on here. We're going to use this Sculpey glue and just run a little bead around the whole window. You can use a toothpick if you want to, but the one thing is kind of cool. I'm going to rebake this, guys. I'm going to rebake this after I get it all painted up. I'm going to rebake it because I got all these other pieces on here. You know, you don't really have to rebake this. You can use just a regular, any kind of glue and glue them on there and be done with it. But I just sort of want to rebake it to make sure it's actually staying on there really nice and good. All right, so I know that seems like a pretty big blob, but this stuff will dry up clear just like Elmer's glue. And, you know, you can use these if you want. Last time I did it with my fingers, but I figured I'd get a, what you call it this time and do it. What are these called? Tweezers, yeah. And then we got another one here. Okay. Actually, I just like using my fingers better, honestly. On the other one, I actually did a pane, and I did a cross pane on the inside. This one I'm going to kind of leave as an open window like that, simply because there you can see it's got one little border around it, one window border. Okay. Then the one thing I want to do is I'm going to put the little flower box underneath it. And I think the flower box is going to be cute. Okay. So those are going to, all the windows and all the windows will be trimmed, and then we'll have the flower boxes on them. And I'm putting a little bit of, actually I probably didn't have too much. You don't need a lot of this stuff. It's pretty sticky. But I'm just going to go around and put that on there underneath it like that. Okay. All right, so I've got that going. I might repaint that door color. I don't know. We'll see. If I don't like that color, I'll repaint it something else. Maybe I'll do it the same color as the gable. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, you get the idea. Each one of these is going to have flower boxes, all the windows and doors. And put the door on real quick. Let's see. Where'd my little archway door go, Kim? Oh, here it is. I put it over there on the mess with the other stuff. This door might be a little funky because it kind of stretched out on me, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to keep it in the same shape as this door. So I might have to finagle that a little bit. But for now, I'm going to leave it like that, and then I can kind of maybe try to hold it down in a minute. Once the glue sets up a little bit more, I think I can press it on there and make it stay in place, but right now it's wanting to expand on me. I've got the doorknob. Like I said, all these little pieces were made separately. I usually don't like to work in small pieces like this, but for this sake of this little guy, I mean, that's what you got to do. Ah, come on, Kim. Get the right side of the tweezers. I know you ladies probably cannot see that, but you can see what I got going on here. This piece here, I have to kind of squeeze it. If it seems like it's going to be a pill to me, I think it'll be okay once the glue dries a little bit. It'll be fine, but I got the little door handle there. Okay, the doorknob. And then once that dries up, it'll be clear and you won't be able to bake it and you won't be able to see it. Okay, now I got to paint the cross and finish it up and make it all nice and pretty. But I did want to give you an idea of how what I did here. I also made some little beads. I thought I had a whole pile of beads. I need to be with Stephanie for this because I know she got so much jewelry. I used to have a ton of jewelry, but I couldn't find all my beads. I had some big old fat wooden beads, and I was just going to slip a bead over the top of this guy here and maybe on the bottom where you hold the medallion. Because like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to assemble this so it hangs. And since I got the glue on here, I'm not going to do a full like pick it up and everything. But basically, you know, you get ribbon or twine or anything like this, and you're going to thread it through the top. Okay, now what you need to do though, if it's going to hang, you can't just put a knot in the top because it's going to want to slide down on you. It'll slide down. So you have to put a knot inside here. You got to put a knot inside and a knot on and a loop on the top of it. And the way I did that was pretty much I just pulled it up and saw where I wanted to gauge my loop knot, so to speak, and then kind of took my Sharpie, kind of like a little bit of a black dot here right there so I could see where it's at. And then what I did is I thread it through up to this point, and then I bring it back out and I tie my knot inside, and then I pull it back up. Does that make sense? Everybody understand that? You pull it back up so you'll have a knot inside, and then you can finish it off the top, and then your string will hang down to wherever you need it to hang down, and then you can add your little medallions. And I showed you what I did with the medallions. And like I said, I just had these little guys. I made these little guys with the clay. You could, jazz them up with some paint markers or even Sharpies or whatever, and put some really fun things on there and just kind of color it up really nice. Like I said, this will go on the bottom of the door. That's going to be like the little door, a doorstep kind of thing. So um, that's pretty much it. I've got a little bit more of assemblage to do. Like I said, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it'll take another 45 minutes and people don't need to see me do all that. But I'm going to switch the camera back over here. Now, does anybody have any questions about this as far as like clay goes, or what's going on? Let me ask, does anybody have any ideas who this gift might be for? I bet nobody knows, except for I know Stephanie knows, I know Tammy knows. Does anybody else have any ideas? Probably not. But anyway, once I get it finished and get it painted up, I think it'll look really cute. And I'm looking forward to the other ladies out there making their handmade gifts. And I want to know what you made for me. All right, guys, I love you all. You have a beautiful weekend. God bless you all, and I will see you soon. Well, actually, when I see you before Christmas, I think I'm on after Christmas. But regardless, we will have a good time, and I'll be watching everybody else. So, bye bye.